everyone, welcome to my corner of BookTube. So I'm pretty much just going to be talking books with you guys. It's mostly going to be reviews. If you have questions or comments or things you want me to talk about, put them down in the comments. If it's something I can do a video on, I'll do it. Otherwise, I'll just respond back to you. I like talking to people, and hey, if I can't talk to you in person, I'll talk to you in the comments. It's perfectly fine. But like I said, these are mostly going to be book reviews. So how my reviews are going to work, I will give content warnings about the book. That way you guys know right up ahead what might be stuff that I'm going to be talking about and what are some things that are talked about in the book that might be uncomfortable or might be triggering. I will then give a summary of the book. This will have spoilers, and I will make sure in the description to put in the timestamp as to when to come back in if you want to skip any of the spoilers. I'll then do the spoiler-free thing, which will be very, very brief, just the, hey, this is what I think of this book. And then I'll do my rating system out of 10. So you guys are aware, you will never hear me give a book a 10 out of 10, unfortunately. It's not because I don't think a book deserves it, it's because my brain seems to think that a 10 out of 10 rating for a book means if that was the only book I could read for the rest of my life, I would be content. And I don't know if you can tell with the books behind me, that's never gonna happen. So if you want to know what the rating would be if I could give a book a 10 out of 10, add 1 to the number. So a 6 would really be a 7, a 9 would be a 10, and so forth. Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno-Garcia. The content warnings, trigger warnings for this is, this book takes place in 1950s, so we have period-typical sexism and racism. The racism is towards Mexicans coming from whites. We also will have a couple of instances of sexual assault and an attempted rape. We will have references to both eugenics and incest during the book. Those are your main trigger warnings to look out for. So now we're going to get into the summary. This is when the spoilers are going to begin, and like I said, look for that timestamp. It'll tell you when to come back in. So our main character, Noemi. She lives in Mexico City with her family and receives a letter from her cousin, who was raised like a sister, Catalina. And Catalina's letter has Noemi and her family very concerned. They think there's something wrong with her, even though her husband and his family says everything was fine. So Noemi makes a deal with her dad. She really wants to continue schooling, and her dad's like, you're a girl, you can't. And so Noemi's like, alright, I'll go, I'll see how things are. I do this, I'll try to get Catalina to come back home because we think there's something wrong. I do my part of going there and trying to get her to come home. You let me continue my schooling. Dad's like, okay, fine. So Noemi leaves Mexico City and goes to a small town. This small town is a mining town that Catalina's husband's family owns. The mine there. It's a silver mine. It's been shut down though for a while because of it shut down during the Mexican Revolution. So Noemi reaches the house and does not get to see Catalina at first because she's not doing well. She does, however, meet Virgil, Catalina's husband, Francis, Virgil's cousin, and Florence, Francis's mother. Eventually she does get to see Catalina, and in her talking with her, she agrees there's something wrong. In fact, she thinks she needs a psychiatrist. She's talking about ghosts, she's talking about being poisoned. And Virgil's like, she just has tuberculosis. Everything's fine. We have a doctor. He comes to town. He comes in every week. He's treating her. She's good. She also finds out the rules. There's to be no smoking in this house, even if you have the windows open. There's to be no talking during dinner. It disturbs the patriarch, Howard, who she hasn't met just yet. And if she needs to go into town, she can't take herself. She has to ask permission to have someone take her. The roads are too treacherous, especially for maids. She finally meets Howard, and this is when we start getting some of the eugenics and the incest stuff, because Howard is obsessed with eugenics, loves the fact that Naomi is the more exotic, darker stock. And the incest also comes in because his first wife was his cousin Agnes, and when she died, his second wife was Agnes's sister. Yeah, I know. Noemi goes and has one of the town doctors come in and look at her sister. He's like, this isn't tuberculosis. She also gets a folk remedy tincture that she brings in. One that we find out her cousins had, Catalina's had before. But Catalina tries to kill herself with it, shrinking pretty much the entire thing and nearly dying. During this, she's also forming a close friendship and budding relationship with Francis. He's really, other than Catalina, the only one in this house that is not losing his mind. And Catalina's mind-losing thing, I mean, she's talking about ghosts and being poisoned. But there's some creepy things still going on. Noemi is sleepwalking, which she hasn't done since she was a child. She's having these dreams of children who are getting eaten, of Ruth, who was another family member who killed a bunch of them, and the murders that she did. And she's had these sexual assaults. Virgil's done sexual assaults on her, once in the bath, once when she slept walk into his room. He later, towards the end of the book, tries to rape her. He's not successful. In fact, he gets a scalpel to the neck for his attempts. We also find out that one of the reasons the mine closed was because a lot of the workers died, which was weird. They didn't know why. They just all a lot of them got sick and started dying. Eventually, she finds out from Francis that what's wrong with this house. The family primarily looks for immortality, for the patriarch, Howard, to be able to jump bodies. This has been an ongoing thing. Part of the reason why there is the incest. And when the family came over from England, they even brought soil from England to help propagate everything, because one of the things that helps all of this happen is this fungus that is in the house. It's spoken to of the gloom. The gloom is why Noemi is having these dreams, and why she and Catalina see Ruth even if they're awake. The ghosts. It's what killed the workers. It's what trapped other people who were workers until Ruth killed a bunch of people and was able to break the hold of the gloom on those other workers, and they left. So the mine shut down. People were dying, there was a revolution, workers left when they were no longer being mind controlled, basically. And this gloom, though, really is attached to the family. It's basically interwoven with their DNA. Howard can hear anything that the gloom hears, so anything said in the gloom, in the house, which is surrounded by the gloom, he can hear. He doesn't know Spanish, though, so when Francis and Noemi start trying to plot how to escape and everything, they do this in Spanish. Francis isn't as affected by the gloom because he is not part of incest. Every now and then, because inbreeding is problematic, they have to bring in fresh blood. Francis's father was fresh blood, Catalina was brought in to be fresh blood, and to be money, because when the mine shut down they ran out of money. And Howard hopes for Noemi to be fresh blood for Francis, to the point that he even kind of forces them to get married. There's a whole ceremony and everything. This is also when everything kind of hits the fan. And when I mean everything hits the fan, Howard ends up dead, Florence ends up dead. You find out Virgil kind of wanted Howard and Florence to die because he wanted to take over. And this is after he got his throat sliced, because she didn't kill him at first when he tried to rape her. But he ends up dead also. And the house with the gloom and the fungus ends up on fire. Catalina, Noemi, and Francis do manage to escape. Francis does still have his concerns that he is going to lose his mind because of the gloom. Noemi, because like I said, they had their nice little budding relationship. Part of her thing is she's going to help him get away from that. Spoilers are ending now. And welcome back if you decided that you were going to skip the spoilers and just get to the, hey, here's the book. So, this is a very atmospherically dark and creepy book, and it's creepy in multitudes of ways. Noemi is a very strong character. I liked her quite a bit. Honestly, most of the characters are very well written. There's good insights into the characters. You have the least of insight with Catalina. I would say most perspective that we are getting is via Noeme. There's a little bit of insight from Frances, but the majority of this is Noeme's perspective. So there are things that if she doesn't know it, we don't necessarily know. We don't get to learn it either. So there are things that are continuously hidden from the readers. I'm fine with that. I think it adds to that creepy and atmospherically dark thing. The first 2/3 to 3/4 of this book are slow. It is a slow build. If you're wanting action from the get-go, you're not going to get it with this book. You will, however, get a very creepy, put you in the feeling of how Noeme's feeling type feel. It's her perspective primarily. It's third person. It's not written in first person, it is third person. There are a little bit of perspectives brought in for some of the other characters, but if she doesn't know it, you don't know it. So yeah, you're getting what she's getting. You're getting the feelings that she's getting. Which actually, in my opinion, is the only reason why I gave... It took away half of a point for me in regards to this, because that meant the terror and stuff that she felt in regards with some of the sexual assault and rape stuff, it was too real for me. So I was just like, I just gotta dial my rating back just a little bit. Overall, though, I gave it a 7.5. I thought it was really good. I got it in my July book of the month. I read it during that. I read a couple of other books then, and then I reread it. I probably will read it again. I have no problem rereading books. So, yeah, if you guys have book suggestions that you would like to see me review, leave them down in the comments. If I have the book, I will bump it up my to-be-read list. If I don't and I come across it, then hey, I might pick it up and be able to give you guys the review that way. Also, if you've read Mexican Gothic, tell me what you think. I'll comment back and we can have a little book discourse going on in the comment section as well. So, thank you. If you're looking forward to hearing more book reviews, subscribe, ring the bell, and I will see you next time. Thank you.